you so much for coming back to Trust Your Motherhood. Today's episode isn't really about my computer. It's about what my computer represented. It represented my podcast, my book, my creativity, my momentum, this dream that I've carried in my heart for years, finally starting to feel real. I had gotten into a rhythm of making time for recording and editing. My book, Wrapped in Love, I wrote lullabies in English and Spanish for my girls, and I've been singing them for almost 7 years actually. And I want to share that love with the world. And I can't wait to share more of that in the future. I was recording an episode, recording and editing late at night, building clips, building a community. For the first time in a long time, I felt like my dreams were moving forward. One day stopped working, and I call my laptop my baby because ever since I received the gift from my wife for Christmas, it has been the tool that I've used to nurture my dreams, which those are really my babies. So when it stopped working, and I tried everything, I tried editing from my phone, compressing my files on the phone, finding different workarounds, even trying to use my wife's computer, which was not up to date. I spent hours forcing things to work because I wasn't ready to give up or stop. But eventually, I had to accept that I couldn't fix it myself. I brought it to the Geek Squad at Best Buy, thinking it would be a quick repair. And instead, I was told it needed to be sent out. And I'd have to wait. At first, I thought, no big deal. Wait 1 to 3 weeks. I was devastated. When you're in the middle of building something that you're excited about, even a few weeks can feel like an eternity. When it finally came back, we turned it on and it still wasn't working properly. They told me that I would have to send it out again. I had to just get up and walk away and get my thoughts and emotions together because I was devastated again, thinking I was going to get back into the rhythm. I was going to go edit that day. I was going to pick up where I left off, only to find out that no, another setback. I looked at my wife and she could see my emotions just getting the best of me. I went, took a walk, only to come back and find out that we were going to have to send it out again. If that didn't work, they were going to give me a refund to get another computer. To me, it was like, but this has all my work in it, all of my dreams, all of the things that I've started to build. Thinking about it now just brings it all back. My wife, being the amazing wife that she is, like, just take a seat. I'm gonna go do some research. She came back. She was like, babe, don't worry about it. Look, I found one that's comparable to this one and it's good for your content creating. I'm so grateful and thankful that I have such a supportive, amazing wife. That was a little reassuring, but it was like still not easy knowing that I would have to wait. And if I'm being honest, I took it harder than expected. My eyes got teary. I got emotional and I just had to take a breath. Not because of the computer itself, but because I felt like I was losing momentum. I felt like I was falling behind. I felt so guilty. I worried about the listeners that have been showing up through this journey every week. I worried about my consistency. I worried that maybe I was letting people down. And something interesting happened. Life kept moving. The podcast slowed down, and it meant so much to me that I needed to make a short clip for you guys so that you can know that it wasn't that I was falling behind because this dream was any less important to me. The podcast slowed down, but motherhood didn't. We took the girls to their first WNBA game. That was an amazing experience. First, the girls were like, no, it's gonna be so boring. So I made sure that they packed their bag. They packed crayons and Legos and a notebook, just in case they did get bored. They had something to entertain them. They picked up the energy of the crowd and they started saying, defense, defense, and celebrating and clapping every basket. My oldest daughter always carries a notebook with her, and she started drawing the mascot from memory. It was so beautiful to see. They picked up the energy when the kids were performing and dancing. It was just awesome. But let me tell you, they were mesmerized from the moment that we walked into the Barclays Arena. They got to see so much kids performing, a bunch of women from different backgrounds coming together and unified. They saw the little kids performing. They were like, oh my God, mommy, are those little kids? And I was like, yeah, baby, whatever you dream and you work hard at, you can do. And another moment was when they saw the players at the end. Of course, one team only wins and one loses. There was still respect and unity when they were shaking hands at the end of the game. We went on our weekly library trips, on adventures of scavenger hunts, activities, favorite in going and finding books that they're interested in reading. They're really into graphic novels. And they each pick a character to read and we read together, acting it out. I encourage that so much. It makes reading less stressful, more fun, and it expands their imagination and their questions while we're reading. We had days where we rode scooters and new trails. On one of our scooter rides, adventures, we just took our time, and this trail has so many wildflowers. We would pick the wildflowers, then take a picture. Technology is amazing. You take a picture and it'll tell you what type of flower it is. And we'd learn about the flower and if it had any medicinal properties. My girls really enjoy being surrounded by the beauty of nature. And while I was so focused on what wasn't happening, life was still giving me beautiful moments with my family. I slowly began to realize that even though my podcast had paused, my life hadn't, motherhood hadn't. The laughter, the conversations, the cuddles, those are my favorite. I tell my girls every night. My wife and I take turns reading to our children, so I always tell them every night one of my favorite parts of my day is cuddling with them. And I try to ingrain it in my brain to remember that feeling, that love. And my wife always asks, do you think they'll remember that or cuddle with us when they're older? I'm like, absolutely. It's the ordinary moments that become everything when you look back. They were still all happening. And maybe that's when it finally clicked. And why progress isn't always what happens on a screen. Sometimes progress looks like being present. Sometimes progress looks like trusting that your dream will still be there when you're ready to pick it back up. The rainbow at the end of this storm was that the tech was like, let's just factory reset it and see what happens. If not, we'll send it out. The next day we came back and she was working. I was like, yes, yes, I am so happy. You know me, as soon as I got home, I got right to work and I was filled with joy that I could put out that story, that episode that I've been holding on to and wanting to share with all of you. The bigger question I had to ask myself was, how do I build my dreams without letting them come at the expense of my family? But also, how do I pursue my dreams without always pushing them aside? Because I never want my dreams to compete with my motherhood. But I also don't want motherhood to be the reason I stop dreaming. And I know that so many mothers understand that feeling. Trying to find balance, trying to make time for themselves, trying to care for their families while also honoring the parts of themselves that matter too. One moment that really stayed with me while I was editing, I was in my office in the rhythm. One of my daughters came into the office. She had a little teddy. She was twirling around, and I can sense and feel that she wanted me to play. She asked me, Mommy, why are you working on Trust Your Motherhood? And I responded, Baby, when Mommy's finished editing, we will play together. And she asked me why she had to wait. So I continued to explain that it's okay for Mommy to have something that belonged to her. It was okay for Mommy to pursue her dream. That didn't mean that she was any less important. It didn't mean I loved her any less. It simply meant that Mommy mattered too. After thinking about it for a moment, she looked at me, okay, Mommy, trust your motherhood. And she did a little twirl. And that meant so much to me because it reminded me of all the times my girls get in the car and they see little icon on the podcast come up and they tell my wife, Mama, put Trust Your Motherhood. We want to listen to Mommy's podcast. Those are the warmest feelings that I have. That my daughters, my little babies, are my little fans, my cheerleaders. I don't think they'll ever know how much those moments mean to me because that's exactly what I'm trying to teach my girls, to love themselves, to follow their dreams, to know that caring for themselves isn't selfish, to know that they matter too. We are always telling our children to follow their dreams. So it's so important that they see us following ours. When my girls get so excited, I printed out these flyers and laminated them with QR codes and all the social media. And we went around and posting it in cafes and supermarkets where there were bulletin boards. Every so often, we go by those places because we shop there, and they're so excited. They're like, Mommy, let's go see the Trust Your Motherhood poster. And if somebody puts something in front of it, we're just going to move it up front. They get so excited in watching this dream unfold and have so much fun helping me put up the flyers and being a part of it. Them being so excited to be a part of my dream is incredible. When I printed out and laminated the first copy of the book that I wrote for them, they were so excited to read it. And they were like, Is this one mine? Can I keep it? It just warmed my heart that they're seeing these dreams that I've held on to for so long come into reality. The last few weeks reminded me that motherhood and dreams are not opposite paths. Sometimes they're being built side by side. The timeline may change, the progress may look different than we imagined, but that doesn't mean that the dream's gone. If your dream is moving slower because raising a family, please know that you're not failing. A delayed dream is not a dead dream. Thank you so much for holding space with me today. Sending you so much love. And until next time, trust your motherhood.